October 1996 was when the original Tomb Raider was released. I was 3 years old, and while I was playing video games at the time in the form of Sonic the Hedgehog, Tomb Raider was one of the first games that I ever watched somebody play. That person being my dad. Unfortunately, 10 years later my dad would pass away, so when a remaster of the original trilogy was announced, I knew that I had to get it. Despite having fond memories of this game, what I did forget is how frustrating some of the games released in the 90s actually were. The modern controls helped with this a lot, however there was still an issue with the camera, and while there was no mention of a camera fix in the patch that was released, it did feel a lot better after the patch. Anyway, I think it's time that we got into the trophies, so sit back, relax and enjoy. For some reason, despite the fact that I was still learning the controls of this game, I decided that I wanted to do one of the harder trophies on my first playthrough. This was the trophy Romb Raider, and as you can see, we are tasked with beating the game without using any medipacks. So not only was I still learning the feel of the game, I had to make sure not to take as much damage at the same time. This was going to be a monumental task. Funnily enough though, our first trophy is also in regards to medipacks. In the second level of the game, City of Vicamba, I managed to collect all the medipacks in the level for the trophy Farming Health. It was at this point that I decided it's probably about time I get more comfortable with the controls before going forward, as I was struggling. So what I decided to do was head into Lara's home. Here there are these exercises that you can do, which is basically a tutorial on how to use the controls. After doing these though and leaving Lara's home, we received the trophy Welcome to My Home. We are now in an area called the Lost Valley, and despite learning more of the controls, things like this were still happening. I powered through though and found somewhere that I needed to put cogs, however I hadn't actually explored the rest of the level yet. So making my way back, I dropped down into an area and I found a shotgun. For collecting the shotgun before collecting those cogs, I was given the trophy Lethal and Loaded. This playthrough was already difficult enough with me not using any medipacks, so I decided to make it slightly harder just for this level. There is a T-Rex in this level and I had to make sure that I do not hurt it at all. This was quite the task, and after several attempts and saves, I made it through to the end of the level without hurting it for the trophy Raid Not Kill. After quickly making our way through the next level, we actually make it back to the Lost Valley and we come up against someone who is shooting back at us. And as you can see from this clip, I still suck at the game, to the point where I can't even get out of the water. So after a reload of the previous save, I decided against going into the water for now and took out this character, whose name is Larson, from dry land, eventually taking his health all the way down and completing the Peru chapter for the trophy, the Unfound Tomb of Quolapec. With the Peru chapter completed, we have now entered the Greece chapter. The first level is called St. Francis's Folly, and there are several trials that we need to partake in to get the keys to exit this place. While I partake in all of the trials, 2 of the related trophies I won't get until a future playthrough. For now though, we make our way into Thor's room. There are 2 trophies here that we can get, Thor's Mercy and You Are Really Low-Key. For You Are Really Low-Key, I am not exactly sure what I did for this. The description says don't let thunder hit you in Thor's room, but thunder can't hit you. The only thing in this room is the lightning and Thor's hammer. My guess is that they mean the lightning. Just in case, I made sure that I didn't get hit by the lightning apart from these 2 times as I entered. Now that we are in the back of the room, I need to make sure that I actually do get hit by a block that falls due to Thor's hammer. After a somehow failed attempt, even though I did it, I reloaded the save that I had made to do it, and I did it a second time and the trophy popped. And now that we had that trophy, I made my way up, got the key and left the room, making sure I wasn't hit by lightning again for the trophy You Are Really Low-Key. One of the final rooms we enter is Damocles' room. Here we have to make sure that we don't get hurt by any of the falling swords as we exit. After several attempts, I stopped running around like a headless chicken and looked up to see where the swords were to avoid them. We eventually managed to leave the room and receive the trophy Dionysius Wisdom. I have no idea how to pronounce that word. Anyway, 2 levels later, we are now in the Palace Midas, and I pick up 2 relatively easy trophies here. First is It's About Time. All I have to do for this is just take a close look at these ancient time devices. Then after collecting 3 lead bars, we head to a hand which actually turns them into gold. Before interacting with this, I made sure to save and decided that I wanted to turn Lara into gold. This actually gave us the trophy Midas Touch. Not much happens trophy wise is now until the final level of the Greece chapter called Tomb of Tehokan. Here we just have to make our way through and just defeat somebody at the end called Pierre. It was at this point as well where I realized that if I just ran behind the enemy, they would have trouble hitting me. So that is what I did, eventually taking down Pierre for the trophy, not so late for the prize giving. Then after leaving this level, we have fully completed the Greece chapter for the trophy. Look over us kindly, Tehokan. Next chapter time, and this time we are now on the Egypt levels. There are not many trophies that I actually collect in this chapter. All 3 of them I actually get in the final level. With that being said, we reached the final level, which is called the Sanctuary of Sion. We make our way through this level, and this level is probably the most challenging so far in terms of platforming. Any mistake that I make typically leads to my death, so I have to make sure that I get it right. The first trophy though doesn't help with that, as I need to collect these hidden Uzis. Now they are not so much hidden but placed on an invisible platform. You have to make sure that you time your jump correctly over to get there, and not only that, once you collect them you have to time it right to make it the jump back, because you cannot see that platform. But thankfully I did manage to collect the Uzis, and for it I received the trophy, Do Uzi this one. After collecting the keys that I needed to escape this place, I make my way up the Sphinx to place the keys into its face. While up on the Sphinx though, I made sure that I do a handstand so we can get the trophy, Pet This Cat. We have now come to the end of this level, however I need to try and defeat the enemy Larson while being one shot away from death. This actually took me many attempts, but eventually I managed to get close to him and just stay behind him while constantly shooting. Eventually I defeated Larson and received the trophy, Pain in Your Brain. I then went and quickly finished this level, which also marked the end of the Egypt chapter, for the trophy, Little Vacation Riot's Over. Time for the final chapter of the game, with this being called the Atlantis chapters. I said before that the last chapter had been the most challenging, while this took it to a whole nother level, but purely in the sense of the enemies that we had to fight. There was not one single easy encounter in any of these levels. We start off in Natla's mind, where we just had to get our guns back after they were taken from us at the end of the previous chapter. We first had to do a few puzzles to get our trusty pistols back, but in order to get back our magnums, Uzis and shotgun, we have to defeat just 3 bosses in this level. First up is the cowboy with the magnums. Tactic as always is just to get behind them while shooting, then follow them around and do the exact same thing. After defeating the cowboy, we not only got the magnums back but also the trophy. It's personal now. Then the most random boss, which is the skater enemy. As the name suggests, he rides around on a skateboard. The skater has the Uzis, so we have to be careful here, but again, staying behind the enemies is the trick, and we get the Uzis back as well as the trophy. Yes, I'm firing at you. Then finally we come up against the bold boss. Yes, that is his actual name. The boss has the shotgun, and thankfully, as the shotgun is a slower shot, we can easily move around the enemy to the point where if you do it correctly, he won't even fire a single shot. So after defeating the bold enemy, we get the shotgun back and also the trophy.
Cheese.
And now we come to the final level of the game, the Great Pyramid. First things first, we come up against this huge creature. This is Natla's new breed. After what felt like an eternity of running around in circles, I finally took it down and we received the trophy, Kind of Evolution on steroids. Now our main objective is to just escape this place as it's on the verge of exploding, mainly due to the fact that we just shot the device. Before making it to the end however, there are 2 trophies that I quickly need to do, so I put down a save file and got the first one by simply falling off the edge. We needed to make Lara scream twice while falling to receive the trophy, Shelly's Encore. Next, we rushed through the level to try and escape, and we came to a place that I needed to swan dive. After clearing the shuttered floor panels, I swan dived straight down the hole in the ground and landed safely in the water for the trophy, Bullseye. There is just one final challenge, and that was Natla herself. After a well-fought battle, she finally went down, but as I went towards the exit, she somehow managed to get back up and we had to fight her again. This time though, I made sure that she stayed down. This in turn gave us the trophy, Yes I Can. A bit of platforming later, we are at the exit to make our escape. For finishing the Atlantis chapter, we received the trophy, the Cataclysm of Atlantis. And for beating the game without using any medipacks, which again was on my first playthrough, we received the trophy Romb Raider. And with that, our first run is done. At the end of my first playthrough, I feel a lot more comfortable with the controls, so I head straight into my second playthrough. This playthrough, I have 3 trophies that I'm working towards. I only play for sport, which is a speedrun trophy where I need to complete the game in less than 5 hours. Play it like you did on a console in 1996, where I needed to save 86 times or less in a single playthrough. And finally, hard boiled for beating the game only using Lara's guns. This is probably not the best playthrough to also pick up miscellaneous trophies, but I go ahead and get as many as I can anyway. First up is that pesky T-Rex. It caused me a lot of trouble in my first playthrough, but not this time. I managed to take it down as quickly as I could, and I received the trophy T-Rex Extinct. This next trophy I got by complete accident. While taking down some walls, we were both in the air at the exact same time, and I managed to take it out. Turns out that this was a trophy called the Apex Predator. What I didn't notice in my first playthrough was this thing, not even sure what to call it. Turns out it's an enemy, and for defeating it we get the trophy Mummy. I'm scared. Not only did I find all the secrets in Peru for the trophy Codex of Peru, I also managed to not get bitten once by the Velociraptors, which gave me the trophy Clever Girl. As this was a speedrun, I decided that I wanted to learn some speedrun strategies. My first playthrough, I believe I finished in just over 7 hours, so while I was confident I could knock those 2 hours off, I wanted to be 100% sure. I had also learned that going into photo mode actually pauses the timer. It also turns out that going into photo mode earned you a trophy. While going through and finding all the secrets to each area, I was stuck attempting this jump to get to a secret area. While going down the slide, I decided to do a swan dive and received a trophy for it. The trophy description states to swan dive to the floor from a maximum height to stay alive. While I am not exactly sure how this counts, I will happily take this trophy. So remember those trials that we had to do earlier on in the video? They are back again, and this time we have some more trophies to collect. In Neptune's room there is water, so what we have to do here is basically come out of the water on our last breath. For doing it successfully, we received the trophy So Salacia. We then head over to Damocles' room, and here we have to make sure that we don't get hurt by the swords again, but this time we have to make all of the swords fall. This gives us the trophy Exaggerated Threat. And now it is time that we played with fire. Quick and easy trophy here. We have to purposely set Lara on fire and then put it out. This gives us the trophy Tempered Lara. Then our final trophy on this run is letting some centaurs live while we are in Greece, and this gives us the trophy on Incredible Tales. And this is the end of our second playthrough. Before we get to the 3 trophies though, the gameplay I am showing right now is just some of the speedrun strats that I learned to skip large areas of some of these levels. In total, I managed to actually complete this playthrough in just 3 hours and 20 minutes. As a recap, we managed to complete the game in less than 5 hours for the trophy I Only Play for Sport. I saved less than 86 times for the trophy Play It Like You Did on a Console in 1996. And finally, for beating the game using Lara's guns, we received the trophy Hard Boiled. It is now 3rd playthrough time. Don't worry, there are still plenty more playthroughs to go. This playthrough is just purely miscellaneous based. These will be the last trophies I get until a patch has been released to fix the items collected trophy. So in the second level, we are tasked with getting 11 wolves in a certain area, which means throughout the first part of this level, I have wolves constantly attacking me. While I go around and collect everything that I can to unlock the door, I did a little trick where I went into somewhere, grabbed the gold idol, and then exited through the same window. This surprisingly gave me a trophy called this. I am not even going to attempt to pronounce it. After getting what I needed, I made my way to unlock the door while the wolves were still attacking me, and found myself in front of 4 Toltec warriors. While this trophy popped, I decided to just give up and let the wolves take me to start the level again and make my way to the next trophy. So this next trophy, there are 3 bears in total in the first couple of levels, and we have to make sure that we see each of them standing on their hind legs. Once you see the 3rd one standing on their hind legs, we are given the trophy Circus of Vilacamba. I then take a closer look at the 2nd Incan mummy that I found, which gave me the trophy Make They Rest in Ukupasha. Hey, remember those trial rooms that I've spoken about twice already? Well, they are back again with another trophy. This time it is in Atlas's room and probably one of the more difficult ones to get. We have to run through and grab up on a ledge to avoid a boulder. This took me several attempts, and in the end I basically had to hug the wall and managed to jump up on the ledge just in time for the boulder to miss me and give me the trophy. I am no Heracles. This next level is not one that I have shown you yet, and it is called Colosseum. As the name suggests, it's a Colosseum with a lot of enemies in. While here we need to make sure that we stand in the Emperor's box and sentence 10 animals to death in the arena. But first though, I need to take out a gorilla from the highest point possible. This was something that I ended up having to do twice, as the first time it just didn't count. Eventually the gorilla made its way towards me, I took it out and we got the trophy, Kong's Fate. A quick reload later and I make my way to the Emperor's box and take out all of the animals below me. This is not enough however, and I have to progress through the game a little bit to make more animals spawn, and this is exactly what I do. Eventually all of the animals are spawned, I take them all out and I am rewarded with the trophy Avlara. Or Ave-Lara? It's one of the two. Anyway, as I was looking through the trophy list, there was a trophy that I had actually missed while in Lara's home. Turns out there is a treasure chest full of gold just sitting there. So I take a closer look at it and receive the trophy, Feast Your Eyes on This. We now have to take a closer look at something else, but this time it is snakes. Thankfully for us, it's just a statue of snakes. This gave us the trophy. Why did it have to be snakes? Remember that speedrun strat I showed you at the end of the second playthrough? Well, to get the next trophy, you actually have to do one of those glitches, and this is called a corner bug. Yes, you actually have to do a glitch in this game to get a trophy. Before explaining what to do, I find it easier to actually do this on tank controls than modern controls. So what you need to do is face up against the wall and then sidestep so your right foot is slightly past the corner of the wall. You then need to turn at a roughly 45-degree angle and jump in place twice. If done correctly, you will shoot up like I did. We had to do all of that for a medipack, but also of course collect the trophy, New Corner Bug. We finally meet Pierre again, and this time I equip my deadly magnums to make him go away, giving us the trophy au revoir. Then to wrap up, I finally found the last remaining secret in Greece for the trophy Codex of Greece. And this is where I actually stopped playing for about 2 weeks while I waited for the patch to come out. While I could have continued up to this point during the miscellaneous playthrough, I was defeating all the enemies at the same time, so when the patch does drop, I can get this trophy straight away. Unfortunately though, this was not the case, as the patch did come out and fixed the bug to collect all items. It made it so there was another enemy that I needed to defeat earlier on in the playthrough. So what I did was just continued on this playthrough, as I wanted to finish collecting all of the items and I was nearing the end of the game anyway through this playthrough. So I quickly found all of the secrets in Egypt, which gave me the trophy Codex of Egypt. I then somehow managed to collect 6 items underwater in just one breath. This is a really close one to get, as you need to make sure that you do it perfect, otherwise you may not have enough time, but for doing this we get the trophy Enter the Crocodile. I made it all the way back to the board enemy and defeated him using my own shotgun this time, giving me the trophy Shellsucker. I then went ahead and used the level skip cheat code to make this playthrough quicker, giving me the trophy Like Dorothy. Then while in Natla's mines, I found a secret area. I just had to make sure that I got to the secret area without stepping on the trap slide. With a well placed jump, this can be easily done for the trophy. I'm not falling for this trick. This next trophy took me a couple of attempts. For some reason, I just had a period of just being terrible at the game. I was probably tired, and I did get this next trophy at like 11 PM. What I needed to do was step on only one surface square on a pyramid to make it to the next area, but I just couldn't do it. Eventually though, after several attempts, I finally got myself over there and received the trophy Watch Your Step. I am now in a throne room, and for the QTN trophy, I had to stand on all 3 thrones. Probably one of the more simple tasks that I have had to do. Now, I thought I had already done this next trophy, but clearly not. We actually come up against our doppelganger. We have to make sure that we defeat the enemies in this room without shooting it. If we shoot it, we also hurt ourselves. I managed to trick it into falling through the floor into a lava pit, and we receive the trophy Be Like Prince. And we're about to come to the final level of the game again, but before I go and pick something up, I decided to jump onto a lower platform. When I do, a secret door opens up for me, and by going into it, we receive a trophy called Secret Door. After jumping on the last shuttered floor panel, I managed to jump over to the final secret area for 2 trophies. I received Codex of Atlantis for finding all secrets in Atlantis, and then I received After Us the Deluge for making all the shuttered floor panels crash in a single playthrough. We just had one more boss last fight to do, and that was Natla. This time I took her out with the Magnums, which were her own production guns. For this we were given the trophy, curses like chickens come home to roost. I then went to collect the final items in this room to finally get the trophy, Tomb Cleaner. There are still 2 runs that I need to do, one where I defeat every enemy possible in one playthrough, and the other is beating the game on New Game Plus. I was going to combine these 2 together, but after just 3 levels I decided I was going to stop that and just beat every possible enemy on a separate playthrough, which I did first. I could easily get this done within 4 hours. However, during this run I had to make sure that I also found all 36 possible ways to die. I probably saved more during this playthrough than any other. This is also a trophy that carries over through playthroughs, so if I actually kept notes of what enemies actually killed me, this would have gone a lot quicker. It took all the way up to the big boss at the end to get the remaining death that I needed for the trophy deadline. Shortly after this, I finished up my playthrough defeating every possible enemy to receive the trophy, leave them sucking wind. And now we come to New Game Plus. The difficulty spike in this is huge. The only way you can heal during New Game Plus are these save crystals that you find. Saying that as well, the only way you can save is also finding these crystals, unless you actually complete the level and then you get an additional save. This was definitely one of the harder playthroughs that I've done, so much so I spent a good 2 hours on the final level of the game alone attempting to do a speedrun strat to skip the level entirely. Unfortunately, this did not work out for me and I had to make my way through the level normally. Altogether, I played for probably 2 hours just on this last level alone. Eventually though, we beat Natla. I jumped up to the ending using the speedrun strat and slid down, completing Tomb Raider 1 Remastered for the final time. This giving me the trophy Consolidate the Material for beating the game on New Game Plus and the Platinum Trophy featuring Lara Croft. I am really glad they decided to remaster this game. It was such a huge trip down memory lane for me, and a game that I will always hold close to my heart. With that said, I think it's about time I started on Tomb Raider 2, don't you think?